Turn my phone off first. No, just pretty good week, first week, and now it's all about getting better. You'll hear me say that all the time, but just I thought we had a couple good practices over the weekend and got to prepare for 2 games this week. But it's all about our guys getting better and better and continue to get more comfortable in how we play and continue to have more guys keep stepping up all the time. So we got a big week ahead of us. This time of the year, you're always trying to figure out your roles. You're trying to figure out how you're going about it with specific lineups out there. But I just want to see these guys get better and better as we move forward.
Hey, Mike, how are you today?
Great. How about you?
Doing well.
Awesome.
Just a quick one first. Do you have any update on Puff Johnson?
Yeah, he had a good practice yesterday. Felt pretty good this morning. See how he feels today during practice, and then evaluate it after practice. But we're like you, man. We want to see this kid play, but the most important thing is making sure he's healthy. We got a lot of basketball ahead of us, but he had a good day yesterday, and we'll see how he feels today after practice.
And then secondly, it feels like we've seen the two extremes almost through game 1 and game 2 with what was happening on court in terms of turnovers, things running well.
Yeah.
What's kind of, through your years as a coach, what's kind of the key coaching point to kind of get it dialed in to find that consistency?
Well, pretty much the term dial in, right? Dial in on the defensive end with great intensity and our defensive approach, but then on the other side being able to shift gears is a phrase we're using with our guys. Shift gears to have still be aggressive on offense, still play fast with great pace, because I think we are doing that, but you got to take care of the basketball. And I think I said it the other night, be quick but don't hurry. Don't throw 50-50 balls. Let's get a shot every time down. We're going to have some turnovers because I want these guys to play loose and be aggressive, but I don't want them to be too loose with the basketball. But we got to make sure we cut down turnovers.
Afternoon, Coach.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Great.
So, it's only been 2 games, but is there anything you've seen from Ace on the floor that's noticeably different already than what you saw for 3 years of VCU?
What different? No. I mean, he's just... Look, I think Ace is the type of... As you watch Ace longer and longer, there's just a certain way he's going to play no matter who we play against. He's a pretty sure player, knows his game. He's super competitive. That carries over to his teammates. So no, not different. I think the one thing is, we want him to be able to score as much as just and make plays too. We want him to show that next level of his game. But Ace is in the moment most of the time. Usually a lot of the time, he's going to make the right play, and that could be an easy kick out or a drop off, or just go draw a foul, then chuck it up there. He just knows how to play basketball. So I want him to continue to that. But the biggest thing I asked him is, here we are establishing our identity here at Penn State, is help us do that, holding himself and our team accountable and have high standards. And that's always the hardest thing to do for anybody at any age. That's why probably my greatest challenge to him right now is hold yourself, show the next level you can be a professional point guard by how you help this team this year.
Coach, how are you?
Great. How you doing?
Doing well. In terms of your offense, it seems like you've been able to generate a lot of clean looks from three. Zach, Leo, especially.
Yeah.
Just talk about the level of shot quality you've been able to produce, and then the confidence, like you said the other night, of those guys being able to knock those down.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right. And just watching the tape, we got a lot of inside-outside shots. As I like to use the term, hot ball. The ball's hot, so different guys are touching it. And look, there's certain guys that we want to get more threes for. Of course, Leo and Zach are two of those guys, but they got to shoot a ball better. I think they will. For both of these guys, they've never played at this pace before, so we're demanding a lot of them on the defensive end, and also playing at a pace on the offensive end and make shots. It's not always easy. That's the adjustment those two guys got to make, and their teammates. And Puff coming back here soon, we're going to ask him to do the same. Play so darn hard and play fast, but also knock down shots. So it comes with just, we're 31 day. Today's the 31st day of practice. Still very early. Those adjustments we got to continue to make, and I'm not worried about Zach and Leo shooting the basketball. They're going to make threes for us. They just got to get acclimated to the pace, to the intensity, and then know, hey, I'm still a really good shooter, even though I play this hard all the time.
Mike, how has the team handled staying focused this weekend with all the Penn State events going on and activities?
Well, I think it's pretty simple. You want to win? Then you got to be different. You could still be a college student and have fun, but you got to make good decisions. Something we talked about after the game Friday night. Enjoy Saturday. Enjoy being a college student, but you got to make sure you get your 8-10 hours of sleep. You eat right. You hydrate right. Put the right things in your body. And do you want to be a really good basketball team and a really good player, or you want to try to burn it at both ends? It never works if you do. And so I guess for me, it's a lot of real talk. We all been there. You could have a fun Saturday night, but it's going to affect your Monday and Tuesday. It's up to you how you want to go about it. I always tell the guys, April and May is the time to be a normal college student. The rest of the other time is about being the best player you can be.
It's quite the Saturday night if you're feeling it on Tuesday, but I respect it.
Well, where I'm from, it might hit you on Thursday too.
Fair enough. What are the origins of your basketball DNA in terms of how you play the game and how you sort of approach it? And is there a difference between how you've coached at VCU and at Penn State so far, and where you'd like to get one day if you said, hey, I have players that are able to do these things, and one day I'd like to get to that?
Well, origin, my high school coach, Mickey Hall in Monterey Area High School, where I grew up in Schuylkill County, he won a ton of games and lots of championships. From the day you walked in the gym, how intense and how hard it was and competitive it was, it made me. That gave me my ideas of how to play basketball. We everybody looked like me. We were short and maybe not the fastest, but we were so intense. But we pressed everybody, no matter who it was, all year long, and we created offense because of the defensive approach. But we also sat down in half court because we did shell defense over and over and over again until it was right. I believe in that. That's sort of the foundation of what I believe in basketball. And then everybody I've been around, Coach Flannery, the details, the attention to details. Coach Nunley, the attention to details, how to build a program, working for Shaka Smart, seeing another side of the pressing and the pace part. I just love, as a player, be really intense, guarding people, trying to take the ball from them, and having a level of toughness people don't want to play against. But then on the offensive end, having a pace and a feel and a flow to play basketball where you get to have a lot of fun. You're not a robot. I want guys to come to Penn State because they're going to be able to play to their instincts that they learned their whole life playing basketball. I want to coach that way as well. So that's how I put it together. Now compared where we're at now compared to VCU days, even some of the when I was at Rice trying to establish it there. You're going to have good days and bad days until you get to a point where this is our standard and we're going to live by this standard every day. But I want to be different. I don't want to be the status quo. I want to be different. Like you see this pace we're playing and everybody around here is so excited about it. And like, this is fun. And I'm like, I think we can play faster. But I also think we can take care of the ball better. I also think we can share the ball even better than we are right now. And we're doing a pretty good job of it for a new team. Defensively, we're not anywhere near my VCU teams. But we'll get there because that's a demand we have every day. So that's where we want to get to. We want to be I would love to be a program at the in the biggest stage in college basketball where kids are watching us play and say, man, I would love to play for that guy and I would love to go to school there. Man, they look like they're having so much fun playing basketball. Isn't that what it's supposed to be? But then we also can go out and beat people at the highest level.
Just to follow up on that, is there ever, it's obviously been very successful for you over your course of your career, so it's not a question of whether it works. but hockey across the street plays a very different way than a lot of people do. They shoot the puck a ton. They're very offensively pressured, and it's different than the model that really good teams sometimes use. Is there ever, in that process of developing how you want to play basketball, that sort of, not self-doubt, but going like, well, Purdue doesn't play quite like that, but they have a lot of success, and leaning into what makes you you and finding success in that anyway?
Great question. There's so many different ways to be successful in all aspects of life, right? In business, some people do it this way, and they're a Fortune 500 company, and someone else does it completely opposite, and they're a Fortune 500 company. Professors on campus teach a different way, but they get their point across, and they're educating the people in their seats. I just think there's so many different ways. So you study everybody's way, and you steal from everybody, and over time you develop your style, your way. I also really critique how some teams can't beat other teams because of their style of play or how they go about it. And, I want to make sure we don't do it like that. So I don't want to just beat a couple teams on our schedule. I want to beat everybody on our schedule. And what's the best way for Penn State to do that? I think we had a great formula at VCU. At Rice, we developed a really good formula that was much different than the rest of the league. And I think that the league, when I was there, the league was a little shocked that we were playing that way. Like, oh, you can't play fast, or you can't trap people. You don't have the athletes. It's our style. It's our plan of attack. It's our style. It's what you believe in and how you sell it. So I do understand your question. I just think there's, in all facets of life, there's so many different ways to do things and be successful. I don't want to be boring. If I'm going down, I want us all to be on the edge of our seat. And some days we go down, right, and then other days we find a way to win. But let's be exciting, and you've heard me say this, house money. I just thought, if we're going to bet on anyone, we're betting on ourselves and how we do it. And some days it's going to be really good and you're going to love it, and some days you're going to write about it and say, what is he doing? That's okay. You're allowed to do that, but I really believe in our approach and how we do it, and it's all about getting a level of commitment from players that are all in. And when you're all in, that's when, I always say, when 18 to 22-year-olds are all in the same cause, it's amazing what they can accomplish.
Mike, we've talked a lot about Meech, Jameel, and Kanye coming back, but you also had the two walk-ons come back, Andy and Dan.
Yeah.
What have they been able to do to help the newcomers come in? What has kind of been their role? But then also, when you come in as a new coach, and there's walk-ons already on the roster, what's kind of your conversations with them, given their status and their flexibility?
Oh, I treat walk-ons like they're starters, like they're everybody else on the team. So I yell at them just as much as I yell at Ace and Kanye and Meech, and I expect them to be as locked in every day as everybody else. I think they didn't realize how much I use walk-ons, and our GAs are involved in practice, but our walk-ons they're involved in everything. So I think they were probably shocked a little bit of that. There's no standing on the side for them. They got to impact our program and help us win. And those two guys are, number one, they're just great guys from great families. They get it. They know what it takes to be a great teammate. But they're a lot sore, I think, than in the past, because I'm using them all the time. They're in drills all the time, and they're getting the same reps as everybody else. If I have to use them to win a game, I'm using them in a second. But I think the world of both of them. They came up here in the summer. When we came back in the summer, and they just really helped all the new guys figure out Penn State. They figured out, they showed these guys where to park, how to get around town, what classes to take, and they talked about that stuff. I think that's huge. That's being a great teammate, and those two they've been super. I love both of them.
Mike, who on this team, personality-wise, reminds you the most of yourself as a player, if anybody?
Well, Ace and I have a lot of things in common, so we probably would have been best friends on the same team, but also kill each other every day in practice. I love how competitive he is. Kanye has some traits that I've had when I was his age. So some similarities there. Puff loves basketball, loves being in the gym. There's some similar there. There's a couple different guys with that, so I'd go with those guys for now.
Coach, you mentioned wanting to play fast, but also you've talked about the importance of taking care of the basketball. Given that you play a heightened pace, what kind of turnovers are you willing to live with, and which ones do you absolutely don't want to have as a coach?
Well, I don't want to live with any, right? Man, if you could really limit turnovers, man, what a huge advantage that is, especially when you can take the ball from the other team. But one that increases the pace. If a guy's running the court and we lead him too far, it goes out of bounds. I can live with it because we're trying to play the right way. The turnovers that don't lead to points we can't defend, they're probably the ones that drive me crazy. So the term you've heard me say, 50-50 ball, 50-50 passes. You can't just throw a 50-50 pass out there and think it's going to get through to your teammates. Players are too good, too athletic, too strong, too tough. You gotta make sure you can change gears and make the right pass at the right time. So, and then being really strong with the basketball. The other night I thought we had just too many loose dribbles, too many hands affecting the ball and our security of it. You got to be really strong with the basketball. I don't like the ones that look like a lack of toughness.
Last question.
Going back to Andy and Dan, what's the sort of respect level that you have for guys that sign up for college basketball without the anticipation of the traditional payoff of, hey, I'm in the game and this really matters? And not to say that they don't get it in other places, but It's a hell of a thing to sign up for the amount of work that comes into this.
Well,
and
I think
practices
it's a great question, but I think the number one thing is, what's the best thing of all this? It's being on a team. That's in the end, you forget your stats, you forget a lot of plays, but man, you remember being on the team at that hotel or in that meal you had with the team, or in the locker room, celebrating a crazy win. Those are the things you remember for the next 35, 40 years of your life is being on a team. So, yeah, they might not be on scholarship, but if you saw them Friday night in the locker room after our game, cheering with the rest of their teammates, or you see them, yesterday we had some kids come to practice and watching them with their teammates hanging out with these kids. That's the best thing about all this. We get to be on a team every day, make it bigger than ourselves, but we're a part of it. I think that's the most important thing. Anybody else? Go ahead.